Another type of connected speech is assimilation. This involves a change in adjacent sounds so that they begin to resemble each other. We're going to talk about three types of assimilation, but it's the first one that I want to spend the most time on. In all three cases, there's a conditioning sound and an assimilating sound. In progressive assimilation, the conditioning sound precedes the following sound, the assimilating sound. As we'll discuss in a moment, this will explain some of the different ways in which we pronounce the S endings, either with plural nouns or with verbs taking the S inflection to form the third person singular, and different ways that we pronounce the ED endings of regular verbs in the past tense. We'll talk about these more in a minute. Now, with regressive assimilation, the conditioning sound follows the assimilating sound. That is, the sound that causes the change follows the sound that changes. This explains why the N, or the N sound, often becomes pronounced as M in the word input. Some people say input, some people say input. Look in the textbook Teaching Pronunciation for more exciting discussions on the allomorphic forms of the English negative prefix. Another example they give you in the textbook is how when you say something like can go, the N sound assimilates to the conditioning sound that follows. The nasal N becomes more of the nasal alveolar N sound becomes more of a velar alveolar, excuse me, a velar alveolar N sound. Yuck. Finally, coalesce and assimilation. This involves a new sound which has features from both sounds. So in this case, there are two conditioning sounds that create a third sound. And teaching pronunciation gives the example, does your mother know? In the case of does your mother know, the Z sound at the end of does, and the Y sound at the front of your combines together to make a third sound, J sound. So does your mother know? Does your mother know? This is a palatalized fricative. And again, the textbook has more discussions of palatalized fricatives and palatalized affricates. Okay, so here's an exercise for you. Think about the following words. I'll actually say them twice, but think about the following words and how the S ending will be pronounced in each of them, or is pronounced in each of them. Is it pronounced as a S or a Z sound? Ends, effects. Sorry, I'll say them twice. Ends, ends, effects, effects, dogs, dogs, dots, dots, herds, herds, hurts, hurts, shoves, shoves, laughs, laughs, whiffs, whiffs, leaves, leaves. So now think about how the sound is pronounced and why it's pronounced that way. Now look at the ED endings of the following verbs. Is it pronounced as a D or a T? Is it a voiced sound or a voiceless sound? Moved, moved, kissed, kissed, loved, loved, wished, wished, laughed, laughed, showed, showed, writhed, writhed, sighed, sighed, raised, raised, curled, curled. Look at how it's pronounced and think about why it's pronounced that way. So, the culminating question for this type of connected speech, what rule will explain your answers to the above questions, the above two exercises. Give some examples to explain this rule.